what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So the finals for the 2023 Prague Pro just wrapped up, and it wasn't a very surprising result. This is pretty much exactly how I predicted it after prejudging the top 5 placings, starting with 5th, Jan Turek, which was kind of surprising to see Roman Fritz not in that top 5. Nathan Diasha wound up in 4th place despite looking significantly improved at the finals. Rubiel Mosquera at his pro debut here, coming over from the IFBB Elite Pro, also known as Neckzilla, taking 3rd place here. Michael Krizo taking 2nd to Samson Dauda. Samson winning his 3rd competition of the 2023 season and his 4th competition overall, including the Olympia where he took 3rd. So Samson ending the year with an Arnold Classic victory, a top 3 Olympia placing, a Romania Pro win, and now the Prague Pro added to that list. And we're going to see Samson again in a few short months at both the Arnold Classic UK and the Arnold Classic US. I think everybody here looked great. This was a fantastic show. This top 4 here overall was phenomenal. Highly competitive show. These guys really brought it. Michael Krizo, I think, looked better than he looked at the Olympia. His conditioning was on point. And he beat Nathan Diasha, which I think was a big feather in his cap because we've never seen them go head-to-head before, Nathan being kind of a more established pro league bodybuilder, while Krizo was still relatively new to the pro league. So that was pretty big for him. But Rubiel Mosquera, making his pro debut here, taking 3rd, was huge for him. This was a huge victory for Rubiel. It might not be an outright win, but for his first ever pro league show, top 3, I think, is a really good placing for him, especially considering the guys that placed ahead of him. You had a top 7 Olympian in Michael Krizo and a top 3 Olympian in Samson Dauda. And then you've got a guy like Nathan Diasha that Rubiel beat. Nathan, arguably, I think, has won more shows than anybody in this lineup. And I don't think any of these guys were off. I think Samson looked better here than he looked in Romania. He looked tighter. His midsection looked better. His conditioning looked a little bit better. Krizo, like I said, I think he looked tighter than the Olympia. Nathan Diasha, I think, looked better than Romania. Rubiel Mosquera obviously looked better than he looked last night at the amateur show. And looking back at like old pictures and videos of Rubiel from when he competed in the IFBB Elite Pro, I think he brought something here that was much more competitive than I think what we've ever seen him bring in the other pro leagues. So he really brought it. And I think he's definitely going to be a guy to look out for. And like I said, it's a little bit of deja vu with Rubiel because it's kind of a similar situation to what we saw with Krizo. Krizo turned pro at the Amateur Olympia in 2022 and then immediately did the Prague Pro. And even though Krizo was able to win the Prague Pro and Rubiel wasn't, it was just kind of a reminiscent thing, both of them coming from the other IFBB, doing really well at their pro debut, both bringing a similar strong point in the fact that they're both kind of mass monsters from that other organization that now we've got everybody in the IFBB Pro League. We're still waiting to see Good Vito on stage, on a pro stage. We've got these freaks and these stars from the other organization. The IFBB Pro League, I feel like right now, is as competitive as it's ever been. We've got some of the best bodybuilding talent in the world competing in these shows. And I don't think we've seen the last of Rubiel and Krizo because keep in mind, Krizo still has to requalify. He's got to win a show, so he still has to requalify for the 2024 Mr. Olympia. So we're going to see him compete again, and I feel like it might be soon. There's the Japan show next week. Rubiel, I think, has the same goal. And I think Rubiel, based on what we saw here, I think he is capable of winning a pro show. I mean, keep in mind, had Samson not done this show, I mean, Samson is a top 3 Olympian. Realistically, nobody was beating Samson as long as Samson wasn't super off. He's the favorite in every show he's going to enter because he's a top 3 Olympian, and Derek and Hadi aren't doing any other shows. So any show that Samson does, he's probably going to win if he's on. So had Samson not done this, Krizo would have won, and Rubiel would have been 2nd. So just for him to only be behind 2 top 10 Olympians, 2 first call-out Olympians at his first pro show ever, and like I said, beating Nathan, is just huge for him, and this is exciting to see. And I really would have liked to see how Horse MD would have done in this lineup, because I think you could have made a strong argument for Horse being a top 2 or 3 guy here. I think Horse would have beat Nathan again. He would have been very competitive with Rubiel, and maybe would have compared pretty favorably with Michael Krizo. And Horse posted an update earlier from one day out. Unfortunately, obviously, he was unable to compete. The reason that he gave was that he was vomiting and he had diarrhea and he was dehydrated, and this was like for an entire day. So he was advised by his coach, and he felt like he needed to pull out, go home, get some medical attention, and not risk his health competing, which was the right decision. And I guess he was also going to do the Japan show next week. He's now also not doing that show. I have a feeling you could see some of these guys do Japan as well. Krizo, Rubiel, maybe even Samson. But think about the momentum that Samson is about to have going into next year's Olympia. Obviously, we can't predict the future. We can't say that he's going to win both the Arnold UK and the Arnold US. But I think there's a really strong probability that he will, because Hadi Chupin and Derek Lunsford realistically probably won't do either of those shows. Nick Walker probably won't be at 100% yet for either of those Arnolds. So even if he were able to compete, he'd probably still be affected by that injury. I don't think he'd be back to 100%. So with those guys not competing or injured, who's really going to beat Samson at either of those shows? So Samson would be going off of 3 pro wins in 2023, a third-place Olympia finish, and potentially 2 Arnold Classic victories, the UK and the US. I think if things really play out the way for Samson that I think a lot of us think they will when he does these Arnold Classics back-to-back, if he wins both of them back-to-back, I think we're going to see a really incredible version of Samson at next year's Olympia, because the prize money that Samson is winning is pretty insane. Keep in mind, he won $300,000 at the Arnold Classic for winning this year. $100,000 at the Olympia this year. That's $400,000. That's as much as you get to win the Olympia. Now he's got $20,000 more from winning these 2 shows. And if he goes on to win both the UK and the US, that's another $430,000. So he's almost at $1 million in prize money just from one competitive year, without even winning the Olympia. He's got to have the most prize money of anybody in a long time in that span of time. If he does, again, it's a pretty big stretch to say he will win both those shows, the UK and the US. But who really is going to stand to challenge him? Maybe an Andrew Jacked would show up. But Andrew even said after the Olympia he wants to take a really serious long break and a long off season and give his body a rest, something that he says he hasn't been able to do since he started competing. So I don't think we'd see him there. I think Samson will be relatively unchallenged at the UK and the US show. Now, a couple other things to mention. Urs Kausinski won Classic Physique. Michael DeBull took second, just as we predicted in the prejudging video. I thought that the lighting at this show was incredible. This is the kind of lighting you want to see on a live stream. Really good viewing experience, not distracting. I thought overall the production of this show was very good. They did a final pose down at the end with every category. They had the bikini girls, they had the 212 guys, the classic guys, and the open bodybuilders. This is something that I wish more top-level shows would do. I think they should do something like this at the Olympia. And I've said this for years. Who doesn't want to see Chris Bumstead posing down with the Open Olympia champ, with Derek or with Hadi or with Big Ramy or with Brandon? Whoever wins the Open Olympia in any given year, who would not want to see that? And then next to whoever wins 212, be it Keon or Sean Clarita. That would be awesome to see all those guys on stage at the same time. And they did that here at this Prague show, and I thought that was a really nice touch that I don't know if we've ever seen it before. And if we have, it's something that we don't often see. So overall, I really enjoyed this show. I thought it was really exciting. I think they really delivered on what the fans wanted to see. Quality of competition was extremely high. And I want to take my hat off again to Samson Dauda for doing what he's doing and bringing star power and a really competitive lineup to these shows that he doesn't have to do. He's doing it for the love of the game and to promote the sport of bodybuilding. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below about the results of this Prague Pro. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon. And as always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at NickStrengthPower. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.